King Belshazzar, grandson of Nebuchadnezzar, inherited a powerful throne, but not the reverence his grandfather had learned through hardship. On a night of drinking and revelry, Belshazzar commanded that the sacred vessels from the temple in Jerusalem, objects consecrated to the Most High God, be brought so that he and his guests could drink wine from them, mocking everything holy. It was a direct affront, a profanation before heaven. The guests laughed, danced, and toasted the gods of gold, silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone. But at the height of arrogance, heaven responded. Suddenly, an invisible hand appeared and began to write on the wall of the palace. The hall, once filled with music and euphoria, was overtaken by a sharp silence. Belshazzar's face turned pale. His knees knocked. The mighty king was seized by fear. No one could decipher the mysterious words. Mene, Mene, Tekel, Parshim, not the wise men, nor the magicians, nor the astrologers. The entire kingdom was on edge, and the empire's destiny was about to be sealed. Amid the confusion and the king's despair, the Queen Mother entered the hall and reminded him of a man with an excellent spirit, someone who had served during Nebuchadnezzar's reign. She spoke of Daniel, the prophet who interpreted dreams and solved mysteries. Immediately, Belshazzar summoned Daniel and promised him rewards: purple garments, a gold chain, and the third highest position in the kingdom. But Daniel, as steadfast and faithful as ever, refused the gifts. He would not sell himself for riches nor bow before human power. Before interpreting the writing, he confronted the king. Daniel reminded Belshazzar that Nebuchadnezzar, though proud, had been humbled by God until he acknowledged that the Most High rules over the kingdoms of men. But Belshazzar, even knowing all this, had not humbled himself. On the contrary, he mocked the Lord. And so, his judgment was sealed. Daniel then revealed the meaning of the writing. Mene, God has numbered the days of your reign and brought it to an end. Tekel, you have been weighed on the scales and found wanting. Parshim, your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. A prophecy direct, deadly, and irreversible. That same night, the unthinkable happened. Babylon's walls, deemed impenetrable, were breached. The armies of the Medes and Persians, led by Darius, seized the city with almost no resistance. While Belshazzar indulged in luxury and arrogance, his enemies had been preparing his downfall. And what God had spoken was fulfilled with precision. The man who had profaned the sacred vessels was killed, and the mighty Babylonian Empire passed into the hands of another kingdom. Chapter 5 of Daniel is not just a historical account. It is a warning. A warning to all who think they can mock God and live without consequence. What happened that night still echoes today as a reminder that heaven watches, weighs, and acts in due time, and no throne, no matter how strong it may seem, can stand when God decides to intervene. The hand that wrote on the wall may never have appeared again, but its message remains clear. God is in control. He installs kings and removes them. He weighs hearts and judges with justice. And even if his judgment seems delayed, it always comes. Belshazzar's feast represents a humanity that ignores the signs, that celebrates while standing at the edge of the abyss. But Daniel once again emerges as a prophetic voice in the chaos, as someone who does not sell out, who is not intimidated, who remains faithful even at the brink of an empire's fall. And this teaches us something profound. In times of crisis, God always has someone who stands firm, someone who speaks truth, even when the truth is hard, who delivers heaven's message, even when it condemns. This story also reminds us that simply knowing the truth is not enough. Belshazzar knew what God had done with Nebuchadnezzar. He had the facts, but he did not allow them to transform his heart. How many people today live the same way? They know what God has done. They know the word. They've heard the testimonies, but they continue to mock holiness, ignore the warnings, and treat the things of God with contempt. And the result? The same: judgment. The hand that wrote on the wall still writes today. Not on palace walls, but in world events, in the consequences of human choices, in the signs that announce the time is drawing near. At the end of the chapter, we see that Daniel did not take the throne or claim power, even though he was honored with the third position in the kingdom. That's because he was never there for political or personal gain. He was a man of heaven in a foreign land, a representative of the eternal kingdom in the midst of fleeting empires. While Belshazzar sought glory and pleasure, Daniel pursued faithfulness and truth. The contrast between the two could not be greater, and the lesson is clear. The world may try to seduce us with power, status, and rewards, but the true servant of God knows that the only crown that matters is the one that comes from above. And that crown is not lost, not corrupted, and does not end with an invasion or a night of terror. That crown is eternal. May this story serve as a call to vigilance. Let us not be like Belshazzar, who ignored the signs and mocked the sacred. But let us be like Daniel, steadfast, upright, and faithful, even when everything around us falls apart. Because God is still speaking. God is still weighing hearts. And yes, God is still writing on the walls of history. And when He writes, no one can erase it. If this message touched your heart, like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear this word, and subscribe to the channel to keep following this journey through the life of Daniel. See you in the next chapter.